This is Mr. Raphael, and in this video I'm going to share with you how I come up with the title and the quote for my memoir. In the last video that you saw, I shared with you how I came up with my list of insights for the small moment I'm going to write about for my memoir. So if you remember, the small moment I'm writing about is that time I helped an old man in the alleyway. If you remember, this was an old man who was struggling to walk, and he asked me to help him back to his apartment, and I did so. Now, in that last video where I modeled how I came up with the insights for this small moment, there were kind of two that kind of stood out for me. The first one was, that helping others is a good way to help yourself. And then I also realized that I personally needed to be more empathic. So when I write my memoir, these are the two insights that I'm going to be illustrating. As I mentioned in class, writers write memoirs because there are important moments in their lives when they learn something or they gain some insight that they feel is valuable enough to share with the reader. Okay, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing when I write my memoir. So I'm ready to think of my title. And when I think of a title for a memoir, really a title for anything, I try to think of a key word or maybe a key action in the story or a theme. I think in memoir in particular, thinking of keywords and themes are really important. So that's what I'm going to do when I try to come up with my title. So what stands out for me for a key word is hand. A key action is actually what I did in the moment, and what I did is I lent a helping hand. So the theme for me is help. So hand, help, helping hand. These are the words that I want to try to include in my title. So I like the title, What a Difference a Hand Can Make. What a difference a hand makes. And there's a couple of reasons why I like this. One, it reminds me of an old commercial that was on TV that had a little jingle that said, what a difference a day makes. So that kind of stuck in my head. And there's also this realization I had that by helping this other person that I also ended up helping myself. So what a powerful thing a hand can be. So there's my title. Now my title, my quote, and my memoir all have to be related and connected in some way. So for my quote, I kind of want to relate it back to my title. So what helps me think of a good quote is I think a good quote for a memoir should maybe suggest the insight that you're going to be talking about in the memoir. Or if you don't like the word memoir, insight, you can think of a lesson learned. And it's also a good place to maybe present the subject or the theme. The subject is me, the old man. The theme is helping others. So how do I take those ideas and put it into my quote? It's also important to keep in mind when coming up with a quote, language and sentence structure is really important because you want it to be written in such a way that maybe even when the reader's done reading your memoir, they might come back and remember that the quote that you came up with. So here's what I've come up with. When you lend a hand to help another, you end up helping yourself. Okay? So there's my quote. And I think this quote for me really suggests the lesson and the insight that I learned. When I was helping that man at that moment, I was just concerned with helping him. I wasn't thinking about how it was going to help me, but it ended up helping me, and then that's what I'm going to write about in the memoir. So now I have my title and I have my quote, and I'm ready for my opening. And if you look at both of these together on the same page, you can see how the title and the quote are related. And after reading both of those, the reader should get a pretty good sense of what the rest of the writing is going to be about. And in the next video, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I start the opening to my memoir.